You're tuning into the High Performance Path podcast, and I'm your host, Alex. If you want to increase your productivity, enhance your mental performance, hack your sleep, and build a bulletproof body, then you're in the right place. Get ready as we dive into interviews with performance coaches, business owners, and health professionals to find out their daily routines, habits, and movement practices. All right, let's go. All right, welcome back to the High Performance Path podcast, and welcome to the show, Nez.
Thank you, Alex. It's such a pleasure to be here.
So tell the listeners who you are, what you do, just in like a few sentences, and then we'll dive into a little bit more about yourself.
Basically, I am the founder of Lissome, two women's only gyms, one based in Newcastle and one in Maitland. And I spend my time, coaching women in fitness and in health, and generally just trying to support them to be their best selves.
Yeah, awesome. So you've got quite an interesting story of how you got in the fitness industry. I don't want to dive into that right now. Mm-hmm. I want to actually get to know you a little bit differently.
Yeah.
It's something I haven't done on the podcast yet.
Oh.
So before we go into what we've got coming up, mm-hmm. is there how can people find out your story? Is there somewhere you can send people that want to find out?
Yeah, well, we have a podcast, the Lissome Podcast. So the very first episode kind of shares my story. It's me just talking into the mic about my journey. So, yeah, if you feel so inclined, head on to that, or you can head to our website as well, lissome.net.au.
Yeah, sweet. Go check that out, guys. Listen to the first episode of the Lissome Podcast to hear Nerida's story. It's a really good story. So today, in my hands here, I've got some cards that I'm shuffling up. Mm-hmm. Now, this is actually it's a card game that it's called the Icebreaker deck.
Okay.
It's a card game by Best Self Co.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with that company. They sell like journals, like templated journals and stuff. Yeah. And they brought out card games. And so I thought, I'll get one of them and try it. And this one's called the Icebreaker deck.
Okay.
Basically, I want to have like maybe a rapid fire.
Yep.
Maybe 10 cards that you're going to pick.
I'm game.
And then I want you just to answer whatever comes to mind. Now, they're different categories. So there'll be a mixture of like, would you rather, or like if you could, or like just random questions about life.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm here for it.
All right. I'll let you pick them up.
Well, I love the colour yellow, so I'm definitely going to go for a yellow one. Are you a cat or a dog person? Definitely a dog person.
Dog person?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, next one.
Okay. If you could only keep 3 things from your home, what would you pick and why? Oh, I'd keep all of my books.
Yep.
Because I love my books. I'm a reader. I'd keep my bed so I had somewhere to sleep. And I would keep my family photos.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah. Okay, red one. When was the last time you cried and why? I actually cried this morning.
Really?
Yeah, I was having a bit of a chat with a friend. She's pregnant and we were just reminiscing and, got a bit emotional because we were talking about relationships and, we both had a bit of a relationship breakdown recently. And, so we both had a little cry for that. That was kind of cute. Yeah, it was nice. It was a nice bonding moment. Would you rather die before your partner or after? Oh, God, that's a tough one.
There's some pretty deep questions in this deck.
You know what? I used to think about this with my family a lot because it's interesting. It's like, would you rather withstand the pain and have them avoid the pain? And you take it, or would you rather die and avoid losing them and them have to? And I don't know. I'd like to say that I think it would be unbearable to lose a partner, but I would want to be the one to outlive them so that they didn't have to go through the pain of my death. Yeah, that's what I'd like. I'd like to think I'm that kind of person. Okay, yellow. Which piece are you when you play Monopoly? The shoe.
Are you?
Always the shoe, yeah. I love shoes. I'm a shoe girl.
I think I'm the cannon.
Oh, really? That does not surprise me.
Doesn't it?
No, you're definitely a cannon kind of guy. Okay, what was your first job? I was a checkout chick at Woolies.
Oh, nice. I've been a checkout chick at Woolies as well.
Oh, well, there you go. We've got something in common.
Yeah, it wasn't my first job.
And what was your first job?
I worked in a bakery.
Oh,
It was after school, so it was the afternoon shift, so it wasn't making anything, it was like cleaning.
oh, geez. Did you get to eat any of the leftovers?
Yeah, actually,
Did you put on weight while you were working there?
no, well, the first day, the owner said, now, you're going to have one chance, I'm going to let you eat as much of anything you want.
Oh, make yourself sick.
Yeah, and then you never want to eat it again.
That's actually brilliant.
That's a good idea, hey?
That's really, really good.
But yeah, I didn't like working at the bakery.
Oh, yeah.
It was
I
just
couldn't do it.
cleaning.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I'd be eating too much of the food. Vanilla slice, I'd be gone.
All right, that was 6, so we got another 4.
If you could only drink one type of alcohol for the rest of your life, what would you choose? Gin and tonic, hands down.
Yeah.
Gin and tonic, gin and soda, lime, lemon, lemongrass. That's me.
Nice.
Okay.
What's your favourite gin?
Hendrix.
Yep.
Yes, 100%. Did I see you've got a bottle? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I've
did
got some
actually.
in the corner over there.
They're such beautiful bottles too, aren't they? Yeah, Hendrix for sure. Yeah, love it. Would you rather hear the good news or the bad news first? I think always the bad and then finish with the good. So
Yeah.
you at least finish on a high.
Yeah.
And I think when you get the good news and you're waiting for the bad, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. So you can't really enjoy the good. Okay. What are the top 3 things on your bucket list? Oh, interesting. Interesting that's a red card. I've actually been thinking for such a long time I've wanted to dye my hair red. I just love red hair.
Really?
And I'm doing it this year.
You've never done it before?
Never done it.
You're doing it this year?
Yep, I can show you a photo of what I'm going for. A
That's-
short red bob. So that's one thing I'm doing this year.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Do you know when?
I've got a bit of a goal. Like I've got some things I want to tick off. Like I'm going through a bit of a transformative period.
Is it going to be a summer or a winter? hairdo?
Yes, I'm a light-skinned kind of girl, and I think you need a bit of colour. So I want to wait until it's a bit warmer.
Yeah.
And a couple of months. So I think maybe September, October.
I'll hold you to that.
Yeah. Oh, believe me,
'Cause
it's happening.
Coming out on the podcast, so
Yeah, it's been something I've always wanted to try, just red hair for a little while.
yeah, cool.
So I want to try that, see if redheads have more fun.
Wait, is that one of the things on your bucket list?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's just one, simple thing.
Yeah, nice.
Another thing would be to travel to Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Mexico. I love the food, love the music, love the dancing, love to do that.
Might not happen for a few years
Yeah,
now.
I know, right? It's pretty scary.
I think I heard 2023
Wow, really?
for international travel.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, it might be a while. And the funny thing is I was nearly going to go last year. Last November I was nearly going. Didn't make it. But yeah, that and then another thing on my bucket list, what have I always wanted to do? I've kind of done a lot because I've traveled a lot. I've done a lot of adventure stuff that I love. I suppose I've always wanted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa too.
Nice.
That's kind of something I'd like to do.
I'm just reading at the moment a biography of a guy he did the 7 summits.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
one of the
wow.
7.
Yeah.
And he's actually about to climb that in the book.
Yeah, wow.
That's the part I'm up to.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I've been to Africa, seen it. I've seen it, and we didn't get a chance to do it, but I'd like to do that.
That'd be really cool to do.
Yeah, like to train for it and do it, properly.
I think you got to watch out for the altitude.
Yeah, it makes you really sick apparently.
Yeah, like they don't know why, but it affects some people more than others.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I'd be definitely one of those that would get sick for sure. I can tell.
I think this is the last one.
Would you rather live in an apartment in the city or a mansion in the country? Can I say both? I'd love to have an inner city apartment and then a mansion in the country to get away on weekends.
You got to pick one.
I'd have to say inner city apartment.
Yeah.
I like being able to walk out the door and get to a cafe. I like connection. I like people. Yeah. So if I had to pick one, the city.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Very cool. I liked that. That was fun.
Yeah, I haven't done that on the podcast with any guests before.
Okay. Well, yeah, it was interesting. I like it. A nice little icebreaker.
Yeah. So the Lissome gyms, you have two of them now.
Yes.
2 locations. One the first location was in Carrington.
Yep.
And the second location you've opened up out at Maitland or
Yep.
East Maitland.
Yeah, it's East Maitland technically. Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
In how many years ago did you open the first gym?
It'll be 6 years ago now.
6. What's something that's surprised you that you've learnt in the 6 years since opening the first location?
Yep.
Probably a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, so many. I think the one thing that's really surprised me is the belief that I never went into business because I wanted to earn more money and work less. Like, what surprises me is how many people go into business thinking that. I think what surprises me is people's idea about what business is, that people that own businesses have loads of cash, super successful, they are happy. And it's actually probably one of the most challenging things you'll ever do. And it's challenging in so many different ways. Like it tests you, like, but there are also so many amazing rewards. So many, there's so many ups and downs. Yeah, there is constantly. And, at times I find myself questioning my ability and thinking, am I not good at this? But I recently read the book Shoe Dog by the guy who founded Nike. And the whole book is about ups and downs. And
That's a good book.
Yeah. I thought to myself, and you can tell he's written that book for founders of business. And I just think, well, if the guy who founded Nike, and they were extreme highs and lows, like, being sued for $50 billion and stuff like that, I think that, when you hear about it happening in any business, and when we talk to other business owners, we all experience it. I just don't think I was really prepared for it. So,
what's one bit of advice you would give someone who is new to business or about to jump into starting their first business?
Yeah, I think read the book, Start With Your Why by Simon Sinek. I think when I look at business, the people that succeed and do really well are doing it because their heart is in the right place. They're not doing it because they think that they want to become, the business will make them successful or rich or significant in some way. Their heart is in the right place and they want to help people. So I think you really need to really interrogate yourself and ask yourself, why is it that you want to do this? And make sure that your intentions are there and they're honourable.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Not doing it for the money.
Yeah, because there is no money. And if you do it, like, not at first.
Yeah.
At first there's nothing. It's just a lot of hard work, blood, sweat and tears. And you will find that you will die out really quickly if you're doing it for the money, because you won't want to wait for that.
Can you explain to the listeners a little bit more about the Lissome gyms if they haven't heard of them?
Yeah, so basically, I went through an experience myself where, a journey 10 years ago, I was 20 kilos overweight and I wanted to join a gym. And back at the time, I bought a house across the road from a gym, and I was, 10 years ago, this style of training was so, new and different. Like, I'd never seen anything like it. And I was turned away because I was too overweight. And
what style of training?
It was CrossFit.
CrossFit.
Yep. And that experience really shaped me and really, it was really tough to go through that. But then luckily for me, I was welcomed in with open arms to a different CrossFit gym months later, and my transformation began there. So learning that lesson and seeing what could be achieved with either different approaches made me really passionate about wanting to create a space where people were welcomed no matter what age, shape or size they are. And so that's what we work on every day. Like, our community is number one at our forefront, and our goal is to make sure that anyone that walks through the front door is made to feel welcome. And our values are community, excellence and courage. And we try to teach our girls to live by those values every day. Courage, that could be coming through the front door for the first time. It could be trying a new skill, like being brave enough to kick up onto the wall for your first handstand. It could be going to breakfast one day when you don't know anyone. And then excellence, you and I, constantly reading books, listening to podcasts, trying to become better, trying to grow, trying to learn. We're constantly trying to encourage our girls to think that way and become better in every aspect of their life. And so what I love doing is I love, creating a community that it's, connected and wants to become better and evolve. And that's through our coaches, our values, our culture and our community.
That's awesome. One thing that I've seen you've been doing this for a while now, that I wanted to talk about is your winter swim squad.
Yes.
How did that whole thing start about?
Yeah. So one year, I would have been probably in my early 20s. I lived with a friend who lived across the road from a beach, and she used to swim nearly every day. And I used to think she was mad. And she told me that she swore by it because it was the best immune booster for, it was just such a good immune booster. And I remember at the time, like I was constantly getting sick, like constantly getting the flu, constantly run down with viruses. Like, and she even commented to me about how sick I was. Yet I was eating what I thought was a reasonable diet. I was exercising. I was doing all the right things. So I joined her one winter, and like every other winter I would get like so sick with the flu. Like, and I'm talking like the flu. And I swam with her 2 or 3 times a week for like all of winter one year, and I did not get sick. And I just remember thinking to myself, oh my God, she's right. So I just started to do it. So the first year I started Lissome, I said to the girls, every Wednesday we're going to go running, and afterwards we're going to swim. And at the end of it, if you do the 12 weeks, I'll buy you a hoodie. Like I'll give you a free hoodie or a free pair of swimmers or something like that.
Was it hard to get people on board?
The first year I had 2 girls. So I had 4 start out and only 2 made it to the end. Second year we had 9. Third year we had 18. Fourth year we had 30 something.
Wow.
And then last year we had 52.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Last year we had 52 girls turn up every week for the whole of winter, 13 weeks. You're allowed 1 week off. So you're allowed one like absentee where you could potentially be away or be sick or whatever, but you've got to show up for 12 weeks. And they all got a free pair of swimmers at the end of it, free pair of Lissome swimmers.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Well, it is because, you know, I look at these girls, so many of them would never have done something like that. And when you're in the water swimming in the middle of winter and you just think, I can do anything. So it's like it's really cool for them to experience that and just challenge them to step outside their comfort zone.
Have you heard of the saying, eat your toad in the morning, or eat the toad in the morning or
Yeah, I
something?
have,
Or
yeah.
eat your frog in the morning?
Yeah, do the hardest thing first.
If you start in the morning
Yeah.
with the hardest thing,
Yeah,
then the rest of the day is going to be easy.
totally.
I kind of feel like that's, you
Yeah.
know, you're setting the rest of your day up
Yeah.
for success.
Yeah. And do you know what happens when you jump in the ocean in the first thing in the morning? Your core body temperature matches the environment around you. So I always find like today, right? I haven't swam this morning, and I'm freezing. Yesterday it was a similar temperature, but I trained and went straight to the bars and jumped in, and I was warm all day. So you actually really notice it. Like your core body temperature adjusts and is set for the day.
Yeah. I've been doing it. I haven't done it throughout a winter.
Mm-hmm.
I've started doing it like on the weekends now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but it's not quite the middle of winter yet.
Yeah.
And it's every week that I do it,
Yeah.
it's getting a little bit colder.
A little bit harder and
And I'm
harder.
like, I'm dreading when it's going to be in the middle of winter.
Do you do anything beforehand? The key is you got to get warm beforehand. Like
You
go
have to
for a
get-
run.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't just rock up to the beach and jump in the water.
Right. That's what I've been doing.
That's hard. We go for a run beforehand. So we probably run 5 or 6K.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're all hot and bothered. And then we just quickly strip off and jump straight in. And when you do it like that, you know, you're so warm that by the time you get in, it feels good. And
Yeah.
then the hardest part is kind of just getting out. Like getting out, and then we quickly have a hot shower, trackies, Ugg boots, coffee. It's
Coffee,
the best.
warm drink.
Give yourself,
warm clothes.
do the challenge this year. Winter starts next week. Do it. So, and do you know what? Count it down.
Oh, so you do it over the 12 weeks, the whole of winter.
Yeah, we start literally the first Wednesday of winter.
Yeah.
And then we count the weeks. It's always 13 weeks. And you count. So week 1, week 2, week 3, we take a photo every week. And then number 1, it makes you love winter. Like you actually love it. And then number 2, winter flies because all of a sudden you're 3-4 weeks in, you're halfway on the downhill, it's over.
Wow.
So it's actually the best thing to do.
That's a really good challenge.
Do it.
I might. I don't want to commit to it.
Commit on
but
Instagram.
I should.
Do it on it. But keep yourself accountable on Instagram. Do it.
Yeah, that is a good way to keep yourself accountable.
My tip is go for a run beforehand, get warm, like do 5Ks or something, or do a session at the gym, do a row and get your body really hot and bothered and sweaty and then jump in. That's the trick.
I don't mind running actually.
Yeah.
And I quite often that same day, it's usually Sunday morning, and that's usually my day where I'll go for a run.
Yeah.
And I'll usually try to do a nasal breathing session or
Yep.
something
Yep.
on that day. So I might just start with that
Yeah.
and then jump in afterwards.
Yeah. Do your run first
Try it
and
in.
then jump straight in.
Yeah.
It'll make all the difference.
Yeah, sweet. So I want to talk a little bit about your morning routine.
Yep.
So you do a lot.
Yeah.
You're quite busy. You do. I want to know how you kind of start your mornings.
So
Because you don't start with a jump in the ocean every morning.
No, I don't do it every morning. Sometimes I'm a bit like I'll jump in 2 or 3 times a week. It's Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
And then on a weekend I'll jump in with a friend. But I feel really good about my morning routine at the moment. Like I've tried lots of different things and this is just what I think works for me.
And I think that's important to try different things.
Yeah, not
and
everyone's
you're
the
not always
same.
going to stick to the same morning routine
100%.
either.
Yep.
So what's it currently for you?
So
What's working?
currently I wake up at 5:15 and the first thing I do.
That's when I wake up.
Oh, I do. There you go.
Same time.
Same time. So I go and make myself a hot water with lemon, and I just like drink that, and it just kind of makes me feel good. And then I'll sit down and I do the toad thing. So like my big thing at the moment is going inward. So I'm trying to meditate, and it's been something I've been running away from my whole life.
Yep.
I have not been able to sit with myself. So I've set myself a little challenge to just for 7 minutes before 7 a.m., 7 days a week, sit down and meditate. So that's the first thing I do. I light a candle, I sit down for 7 minutes, and I just breathe.
Do you do it guided, or do you just do it yourself?
I just sit by myself and I just listen, and I just observe my thoughts, and I just try to just slow down and just create space. And then I'll get dressed and I'll go to the gym and I'll do a workout with the girls. That goes for about 45 minutes, an hour. I think I love training in the morning, and getting your body moving I think is so important. And then sunshine, vitamin D is so important too. So I'll usually either drive to the beach and I'll jump in the water and I'll sit in the sun for a little bit, or I'll go for a walk and I'll try and get some vitamin D that way, and I'll listen to a podcast. So either way, I spend 15, 20 minutes either swimming in the baths or going for a little walk. And then I come home and I make myself a beautiful, healthy breakfast. So like eggs, mushrooms, spinach, tomato. And I'll sit and I'll have a cup of tea and I'll journal for like half an hour. So I'm like journaling and just writing down. I'm doing a lot of future self-journaling at the moment. So writing down like the traits and the qualities I want to be living and becoming, and what I want my future to look like, and trying to build up my self-esteem.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people think I'm a very positive, happy, confident person, but I actually have my demons. Like I think deep down I've got a lot of, I'm so hard on myself, that it's actually not. And I think, people in business often are, and that's often what brings them success, but it's to my detriment. So at the moment I'm trying really hard to be my own best friend, just be kind to myself. And I love writing. I'm doing a lot more of it. And then I'll sometimes sit and just put on YouTube, and I'll put on like a podcast. So Impact Theory or Marissa Peer I'm listening to a lot at the moment, Joe Dispenza, Abraham Hicks. I'll just listen to something to set me off for the day, like something that really brings about good feeling, good intention. And then I'll go to work, and I don't start work till about 10 a.m. And then when I get to work, I catch up with my right-hand man, Ash. She's my head coach. And then she brings me up to date with what's on for the day. She's the one that plans and organises. So I have Ash who manages Newcastle. So I either meet with Ash or I meet with Abby who manages Maitland. And then I'll work with them for the day. And we're like, right, what are we tackling here? What are we doing? And I used to think I had to get to work for like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So my morning routine was really rushed. And you know what? I find I'm more productive. I work from 10 till 4 or 5, but I get so much more done because I've spent an hour on myself, for myself, just feeling really, really good.
100% agree that is a better approach.
Yeah. I have achieved more in the last 12 weeks of that morning routine than I have in I don't even know how long. Like just I'm always thinking I've got to give, and I've got to be out there just, like doing things instead of just looking like doing the work within. And this year's the first time I've really done that. And it's just like I'm reaping the rewards tenfold. I'm sleeping better. I've got more energy. I'm happier. I'm more productive. I'm achieving so much. My relationships are better because I'm calmer. I'm not so stressed and jacked all the time, because running 2 businesses, and now I've got an online business. I've got 15 staff coming at me at any one time, plus landlords, solicitors, accountants, other people in the business industry, friends, family. I just always felt like I was just jacked, but now I just feel calm.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's
nice.
You mentioned when you journal about the qualities you want to have, or the person you want to be, or the things you want to achieve.
Yep.
That sounds like it's you're visualizing and manifesting what you want to happen.
Totally.
And if you journal about that stuff, you're showing your subconscious that, and so you see what you focus on.
Yep.
And so by focusing on things that are positive or happy rather than negatives, or focusing on things that you want to have, you will attract those things into your life.
Totally.
Is that a technique that you found from anywhere in particular?
Well, like, so for instance, this year, like 2020 has probably been like my life right now compared to 6 months ago is like, it's like insanely different. Like my life this year has just been crazy. It's just been like my life's been flipped upside down. My relationships, broken down. I've moved out of my house. Like, I'm living in a different house. My 2 businesses are closed, So life is very different for me. So that really put me on a path of like looking within and figuring myself out. So I listened to a lot of stuff. And one thing that became really interesting was, it really stuck with me, that we are all the creators of our own experience. And we create every day without really realizing it. And I realized a lot of the emotions I was feeling and a lot of the talk I was having was very negative and very, just coming from a bad place. And I was creating more and more of that. I was creating all these experiences in my life that were not positive and not enjoyable and not successful and not thriving. And it's funny, I felt like last year I was just going up against a brick wall constantly. And now it just makes so much sense. Like I was just, because my emotions would, your emotions create your actions, which create your results, So I was just constantly in this cycle. And so I sat back and asked myself, what do I want to create? Like, what kind of life do I want to create for myself? Because I am in control. I can change this, but I've got to stop being asleep to this. And so that's when I started, I created a vision board of what I wanted my life to look like. Every day I take one little step towards that. I think about it, I dream about it, I release control and I surrender and I just trust that the universe, this is woo-woo, but, there's an interesting saying that Steve Jobs says, it's always easy to connect the dots when you look backwards. But it's so hard to have that faith. Like we're going through one of the most monumental times of ever right now. And I know that I've been in this place before where I've been on rock bottom and it's always been the best. It's always put me on the perfect path that I needed to be on. But I think this has been the one that's rocked me the most because it's all happened at once. My moving, I'm a real homebody, so having to move out of my house I hated that. My relationship and then my businesses, like all 3 have just been affected. So it's like, whoa, but you know what? I'm okay. I've got a roof over my head. I've got money in the bank. I've got food. I have not gone without a meal. I've got family and friends who love me. Like at the end of the day, I've got the bare essential. Like this stuff really makes you look at, well, hang on a minute. You actually have everything you need right here. And it's just forced me to really dive deep.
That's really good. Good insights there.
Yeah.
I want to start to ask you a few of the questions that I ask all my guests and start to wrap things up.
Yep.
You've mentioned a few books.
Yep.
Is there any book in particular that you would recommend to the people listening? It could be about anything.
Yep. A book I think every single person on the planet should read is called Daring Greatly by Brené Brown.
Yeah.
She is a researcher and particularly researches shame. And so many of us are living with so much shame and we just don't even realize it. And that word it triggers a lot of people, I think. But I think deep down we all do experience shame. And that book was the beginning of my last rock bottom, climbing out of that. She has just been a monumental influence in my life, her books, her Netflix docuseries, her I've been to see her live, her live events. She's phenomenal.
She got a Netflix series, does she?
Call to Courage.
Oh,
yeah, it's amazing. She is probably, I've seen Tony Robbins live, I've seen plenty of speakers. She's hands down the best public speaker you will ever see.
Yeah, wow.
She has the ability to, I remember sitting there watching her. She had me sitting on the edge of my seat, my whole row. We were all hanging, breaths, holding onto our breath, just waiting in anticipation. And then cracking up laughing and then crying in a space of 60 seconds. She's phenomenal.
That's when you know you've got a good public speaker.
She is
when they can
insane.
Go through all those emotions.
Yeah.
Make everyone, the whole crowd, go through all emotions.
Yeah. Yeah, she's phenomenal.
That's
so
cool.
If you ever get the chance to go and see her, go and see her.
I think she has a TED Talk or two,
Yeah,
doesn't
she's got
she?
2. Oh, you have to watch them if you haven't watched them.
I may have watched one of them. I can't remember though.
They're both really, really good. Definitely recommend them.
I'll put some links to those in the show notes for anyone
great.
that's listening.
Yeah, I've watched them over and over. She's phenomenal. I think another book is Start With Your Why. I think that's just Start With Why. I think Simon Sinek's fantastic, and I think that's something everyone should read just to figure out more about who they are.
That's a good book for anyone that's in kind of business, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Or marketing, or has products or something that they're offering people.
Yeah. And I think Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, I think is so important, just to, be like all we ever have is the present moment, and yet we spend so much time dwelling over the past or having anxiety about the future, and we just don't ever live in the present moment. So I think that's really important to live in the present moment. I think that's really useful. And there's one other one that I know I've read a couple of times, but I just can't think of it.
If it comes to mind,
yeah, I'll mention it. But yeah, those three, well, yeah, great start.
So you mentioned Netflix there.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone's spent a lot more time at home, a lot more people have spent more time. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people have spent more time on Netflix.
Yep.
Is there something that you've watched recently that you recommend?
Well,
or what series have you just binge watched that was so good?
Yeah, I just watched the Michael Jordan Last Dance.
I just finished that.
Yeah,
How good is it?
It's so good. I loved it. I thought it was really good. Another one I'm getting into right now is called Afterlife with Ricky Gervais.
Oh, yeah.
I find that's really interesting. It's like funny and it's
Is
also
it a comedy?
really emotional. Yeah, it's like a dark comedy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's really good. I've been cracking up in it, but it's also really it's also thought provoking. Okay. So I like shows like that.
Did he produce that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he produces and directs it, I believe. I could be wrong.
He produced The Office.
Yes,
as well.
yeah.
And he starred in it.
Yeah. So that's really good. And yeah, I think they're both the ones that I've been watching lately. I don't really watch a lot of Netflix. I'm generally watching more YouTube. Like I love watching stuff on YouTube, but
I love YouTube.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
If I could just have either TV or Netflix or YouTube, I'd pick YouTube.
Yeah, me too. Well, the things I'm binging on YouTube at the moment is this lady called Marissa Peer.
Yeah,
she's fantastic. She's like this speaker that has this hypnotic voice. And she's saying that all of our problems come down to one of three things: that we don't think we're enough, we're not worthy, and we don't love ourselves. And she's basically saying everyone's problems come from one of those things. And I really believe that. And I'm really starting to see some of my own, the way that I'm sabotaging myself unconsciously without realizing. So that's been really awesome for me to work through. I'm loving that sort of stuff. And I love Abraham Hicks. I love her whole, all of her stuff about manifestation and vibration. Joe Dispenza, I think he's amazing. And Impact Theory. I love that podcast and they show a lot of that on YouTube too. So yeah, I'm loving that.
Do you watch much of Joe Rogan at all?
Not really, because the episodes are so long. I have watched some. Have you watched his episode? Have you listened to his episode with a guy called Naval Ravikat?
I don't think I have.
Now, you have to listen to it. This guy would have to be the smartest man I have ever listened to. This guy...
Smarter than Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I don't know who that is, but this guy can talk about anything, talk about religion, spirituality, politics, science, maths, business. He's a billionaire, like he's an angel investor, but grew up very poor. But the reason why he's so smart is his mum was very poor and he grew up in New York from India originally, and his mum said to him, every day after school, I want you to go to the library, because she couldn't afford daycare, like after school care. So he used to go to the library and he just would read. Oh. He's just like, read. And what I love about him is he's so real. Like he says he used to read junk, like just whatever. And he says what people do, which is so true. Everyone says that they read, but no one reads. Everyone says they meditate, but no one really meditates. People do it because they say it because they think that it's something you should do. And he said what parents do a lot is try and make their kids read books that, are interesting and going to make them better. And really they should just, he said, it's like junk food. When you eat enough junk food and you feel sick, you eventually get onto the healthy stuff. And it's like, that's what reading should be. You should read whatever you want to read, not read what you think you should read. And he talks a lot about that. But anyway, he is just read, got into business and he's so humble, so humble and smart. I'm going to send you a link for it. It is hands down the best Joe Rogan episode you'll ever listen to.
Send me a link to each one of those people that you spoke about, and I'll put a link in the show notes of each one of those channels.
Yep.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, he's a fantastic episode.
What I was going to say about Joe Rogan was he just signed a deal with Spotify.
Yep.
Like a licensing deal. So all of his shows are going to be taken off YouTube and taken off Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
And shown exclusively on Spotify.
Wow.
Which is huge.
That is huge.
Because I think that's one of YouTube's biggest podcasters.
Yeah, wow.
And probably one of Apple's biggest podcasts as well. That's huge for them to lose that. But that's really good for Spotify. That means Spotify's really coming up in the audio and media kind of game.
Totally.
Spotify have purchased Anchor as well.
Oh, wow. I did hear about that, actually.
So
yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, wow. That's good to know. Okay, interesting.
So
Interesting how that pans out.
I think Apple they're slowly losing the throne.
On their way out.
I think so.
Well, you heard it here first.
Anyway, if you could give someone a habit to practice or a habit to do every day for 30 days, what would that be? And they would successfully do it.
Exercise, and it doesn't matter what it is as long as you enjoy it. It's like the old saying, the best workout is the one that you'll do. I think exercise is the most underrated benefit of our time. Mind, body, soul. I think it's so important to find something that you just love. And I just think if that's all you could do, just exercise every day for 30 days, I think that's really important. That's my number one.
Now, if you traveled, this is the last thing I want to end on. Mm-hmm. If you traveled back in time 10 years, what advice would you give yourself? So think back to where you were 10 years ago.
Yep. Just to hold on and get ready for the ride. I'd be like, it's coming, and just to have faith that it's all going to work out.
Yeah.
I remember 10 years ago, God, I was a different person. I was, much more overweight. I was miserable. I was deeply depressed. I was lost. I had no hope for the future. If I told myself now, if I went back and said, you're going to start a business and you're going to go and speak at events and you're going to do this and do that, I would never have believed it. So, I think that's what I would have said to myself, to just have faith that it's all going to be okay.
And you would have no idea what that would have meant either.
No.
What do you mean, have faith?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. All right, we got to wrap things up. Where do you want to send people from here to find out more about you?
Yeah, well, we're pretty active on Instagram. We love to hang out there. So come and check us out on Instagram. We've got a website. So Lissome Newcastle on Instagram, Lissome Maitland, Lissome Australia as well. That's our online program. And Facebook, we hang out as well. We've got the website. We've got a podcast, Lissome Podcast. We've got a YouTube channel. So, come and connect with us at any of those places.
How do you spell Lissome for the people listening wondering?
Yeah, Lissome.
Awesome.
And that word means to be agile, supple, and graceful.
Oh, is that what it means?
Yeah, it's Latin.
In Latin?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed this, please take a screenshot and share it. I'd love to see who's listening. And also, please subscribe and give a rating on iTunes. Sending positive vibes to everyone out there. Thanks heaps for listening.